All right, everybody, how you doing? Welcome. Happy Monday. And it seems like I say this every time. Here we go. The days are all running together. Everything is, say that every day. But gosh, today sure seems like it, doesn't it? It's all running together. But we're going to make it through, and we're going to have, things are going to be all right. Hope everybody is doing well. And I've got a couple special announcements for you today, and we're going to be talking about some really important stuff today as well. I always hate saying stuff. Patricia Fripp is going to kill me for saying stuff. That is my great friend Frippy's one thing, is we should never say that. There's always something to define it. So we have some very important items to get to today. Okay, so first off, and I'm going to say this a couple times because, when we start, folks kind of gather together and it takes them a minute to get in. Hey, Bill, great to see you on Instagram. Thanks for being here. And Facebook has made a change. Facebook has made a change. So the change is not related to the software that I'm using. It's not related to anything that anybody is doing other than the change that Facebook has made. And the change that Facebook has made is that you cannot post your comments from my personal page. So a lot of you are watching this from my personal page. Talene just made a comment. I see here. I've got my Facebook page here on my iPad here below me. And, I'm trying to keep up with comments from that. But it is a change that Facebook has made, not that I've made or anything like that. So you can't post comments if you are on my personal page. To post a comment that I'll see that'll come up on the program here so we can pop them up on the screen like we've been doing, you have to be watching from a fan page or another type of page. So that's part of the reason I set up the Daily Distinction page, is because if you watch this from our Daily Distinction fan page, then you'll be able to see your comments posted. They will pop up because they'll do that. But if it's someone's individual page, then the software of Facebook, not of what I'm using here, but the software of Facebook won't allow me to see that. Why? I don't know. But what you need to do is to move from my individual page to either my business page, which is the Iconic BizBook, or to, most importantly, where I'd really like for everybody to go is to the Daily Distinction page, because that way we can continue to have the conversation even when Daily Distinction isn't what's on. So what I'd like to recommend is that you do that. Go to the Daily Distinction page and start watching from there, because if you watch from there, then I have a chance to see what you're saying. Now there's Ken. Ken is obviously doing it right. Ken, my live streaming guru, is here. So I appreciate that. So Ken, thanks to your insight, that is how I know that this is the case, and I'm passing along to everybody. So again, as we're saying here, you need to watch Daily Distinction from our fan page on Facebook, or of course you can watch it from Twitter. If you post a comment from Twitter, I'll see it here. And there's not a whole lot we can do about that. So currently, Daily Distinction is being posted to my personal page. It's being posted to my business page. We moved it from UBS Insider to the Daily Distinction page. We're live on YouTube, and we are live on Twitter. Before too long, and I'll give you soon the exact date when, but before too long, we're going to be dropping one of those, probably my personal page. We're going to be dropping one of those because we're also going to start streaming on Twitch, which is an amazing platform, and it's certainly growing, and that's where we're going to head. So I want to get you over there. Ken says it's a bug in Facebook's code that's not allowing third-party apps to return comments. They're working on it. So hopefully it'll be resolved, Ken, but it's certainly not now. And man, I love seeing the the comments that people post, and it's very frustrating, not to be able to see what everybody's doing. So please, and I'm trying to get everybody's comments here in front of me on my Facebook app, and it's not popping up here for me. So please take a look. Go to that page. Now, here's one of the other things that we are going to do to make this work out. I really want you to move over to the page, and I also, because of this, I can't see who's online right now because of the bug that Ken was talking about. But I really appreciate everybody that is sharing the news of Daily Distinction. That's really, really important. Sharing the Daily Distinction. So when you share it on your Facebook feed, when you share it on LinkedIn, when I put the replay up on LinkedIn every day, when you share it wherever, that really, really helps us grow. And that's part of what we're doing and part of why we're getting more. Tammy and I are going to work as soon as we get off here. We're going to move some things around. You're going to see a little bit of a new set tomorrow that kind of excited about. So when you share, it's really, really critical and really, really important. And thank you for doing that. Pam, hello. Glad you moved over. See, it works, right? When you're in the right spot, it works. So here's what we're going to do tomorrow. Oh, and on Instagram says, never heard of Twitch. Twitch is a very, very hot platform for the younger demographic. A lot of it is gamers who are on Twitch, but more and more business individuals, more entrepreneurs are getting on Twitch because what it is just live streaming. I mean, that's really what it is. It's unlike Facebook where it's other things and you can also stream live. Twitch is just about live streaming. So we're going to jump on that as well because that is it's kind of like saying, let's get in early on some of these new platforms. So anyway, but because you sharing is so important, I want to say thanks to those who share. And we're trying to figure out a way to do that. So what we're going to do for the next 24 hours is to make a list of everybody who shares. I can see it on all the different. And so every time you share this, and only, share it twice per platform, but every time you share this goes as an entry. For instance, if you share on Facebook and you share on Twitter, and that's 3 entries. If you do it twice in the next 24 hours, that's 6 entries. And we're going to take all of these entries over the next 23 hours and put them in a hat. We're going to draw 3 of them. And I'm going to send you 3 folks a copy of my book, Iconic. And I will sign it, personalize it for you, and send it to you right away. So for the folks that share this the most, that's how many entries that you're going to get in. We'll pull 3 names out of the hat. And we're going to have 3 winners of the signed, personalized book, Iconic. Always hate flogging my own stuff here, but I was so excited. American Express has a newsletter for the people who have the Platinum Biz Card. So it's for business people and entrepreneurs who have the American Express. And there was an article there in their most recent newsletter, and it said there's 6 books that everybody should be reading that's in business to get them through this very difficult time. And they named 6 books, and Iconic was one of the 6 that American Express said that business leaders and all business people need to read to help them survive and thrive through the pandemic. And I was just blown away. I was so honored by that. Forbes named it as one of the 10 best business books of the year. It was such a great privilege and thrill for that. So if you'd like to get a copy of Iconic, if you don't have one, if you'd like to get a signed copy, if you've already got one, you'd like to give one to give somebody as a gift, all you need to do is to share about Daily Distinction. And as you share, each share counts as an entry. Makes sense? So when you share, then if you share it on Twitter, that's one. Share it on LinkedIn, that's one. Share it on Facebook, that's another. And the more you share, the more entries you got. So I'd love to send these books to you. All right. So we'll count the number of shares. So thank you very much. Oh, Ken is saying, yeah, Tammy is going to be moving furniture. So we're going to try a different little setup here and see how it works. And Charles, hey, see, I assumed, it goes without saying, that you are going to be here. There's certain Dwayne's going to be, other folks are going to be here, and it just kills me when I can't see that you guys are here because I just assume that if you're not here, something's wrong. So I've said something wrong. So we'll make that work. Thank you, Pam. I appreciate that. It was such a great thrill to have that happen. So at any rate, that's where we are on that. And as more folks keep joining us as we're on here, I'll hope you don't mind. I'll come back and revisit that one more time because I certainly want everybody to take advantage of that. So thank you for moving over and getting over to the fan page. And over a period of time, as I said, we're probably going to eliminate being on my personal page unless Facebook gets this fixed. And we also want to, be progressive and move over to Twitch. So how's your day going today? It's Monday. I have a little technique I wanted to talk to you about. And then as was mentioned, if you saw the promo, the three elements that are absolutely critical for goals. Because one of the things that I hope that we're doing, and one of the things I certainly know that I'm trying to do during this period of time, is to reevaluate and plan. And some folks are calling it pivot. I have a hard time with the word pivot. I don't think that's what we should be doing. The reason is because a pivot is a turn away from something into something else. The word I prefer is to embrace, right? We're going to open our arms a little wider and the world is going to be different, and we're going to embrace that while we continue to use, whatever talents and abilities and skills and expertise that we already have. So a lot of folks are saying pivot simply because we're trying to do something different. I tend to think of how are we going to embrace this new future and what are we going to do and how are we going to plan and prepare and deliver on that. So, before I forget too, working on a couple of really cool guests, really great guests. So I'll have more news about that for you tomorrow. They're checking their schedule and see what's going on, but I think you'll be excited that they're be cool if it works out. All right. So the little technique I was going to tell you, and this sounds so silly, and I thought of it. I do this, and I thought this morning when I did it, I've got to pass along. For some reason, if I'm just doing nothing here at the house, whether it is doing work here in the house or when I had time off and was watching sports here in the house, what do? You get up, you throw some clothes on, you go, whatever. Even if you fix yourself up a little bit, right? You still just, your house. But every time I go out, every time I'm going to go give a speech, or every time I'm going to have a meeting, or every time that, Tammy and I are going to go to meet friends or whatever that might be, every time I go out, I always put on cologne, right? That's just part of what you do that signifies this is more than just laying around the house. Ladies, are you the same, maybe with mascara or with perfume? And so one of the things that I am disciplining myself to do every day now is when I get ready in the morning, I typically, the typical morning, especially as it's getting hotter here now in Las Vegas, is I get up in the morning, I walk 2 miles, come back in, get a bite of breakfast, get cleaned up, get ready for the day. And I'm making sure that I do that every day because it's easy to look at your watch and all of a sudden it's 3:00 and you're still in your sweatpants or PJs, right? I've been guilty of that a day or two here. So there's just something about spraying on some cologne, even though you're not going out, that makes it feel as if there is something special about the day. I want to encourage you to think about that. What if you sprayed on just a splash of cologne or perfume just to make yourself feel like, if you went to work or if you you probably put some cologne on, you probably put some perfume on. So do that as just a little technique, because I think what happens is your nose tricks your brain. I don't have any scientific evidence on that, but I think your nose kind of tricks your brain that it thinks, and it sends the message to the brain, because we're so used to, human beings are creatures of habit, as we talked about. We're so used to, when that happens, we're going somewhere, we're doing something. And so use that tool so that your olfactory nerve, your nose, tricks your brain. But now we're going to something special. Now we're going to do something important, because what you are doing now is important. What you are doing now is critical. It is vital. What you are doing now is important. So how do we do those important things? What do we do to make certain that what we're doing is at the level that it should be and the level of importance that it should be? And that is where we talk about the importance of goals. And I wanted to talk to you about that for a little bit in terms of goals and goal setting and where we need to be there. And one of the things that I've learned, and I won't go into the long story about how I learned it, but one of the things that I learned over a period of time is that there are three things that make goals unique, that really ensures that the goal is set up in a manner that is going to take you where you want to go. So I wanted to review those three with you, because one of the encouragements that I would give you is to make certain that you don't waste this time where we've been here and fail to at least set a goal for where you're going to be a year from now. I mean, a year from now, you're going to be a year older, as the old cliche is. The only question is, how will you be different? My late great friend, Charles Tremendous Jones. Charlie Tremendous Jones. What a character. You ought to look him up on Google. Charlie Tremendous Jones was larger than life, probably more than anybody I've ever known. And he had this great quote, and that is that the only things that will change your life are the people you meet and the books that you read. Now, you might disagree with that, or you might say, hey, there's more to that. But the more I thought about it, the more true that has become. Is it's what's really changed my life are the people that I've met, the influence that mentors have had, and what they've brought into my life, and the books that I've read or have listened to and have discussed. But Charlie Tremendous Jones always said the two things that will change your life are the people you meet, the books that you read. And so what I learned from reading and what I've learned from being around successful people is that very few of them were what Zig Ziglar called wandering generalities. In other words, there was something very specific in terms of what they wanted to do. There was a goal that they had. As the old story says, imagine trying to play a game of football on an unmarked field. You'd have no idea when a first down had occurred. You wouldn't even know when a touchdown had been scored if there weren't markers on the field, if there wasn't a way to get specific measurable progress. So there are three elements that get us there. And that's what I wanted to chat with you about today, because people will say, oh, I've set a goal, but there's very little follow-up on that goal. And there's very little thoroughness to that goal. Glenn Morshower, when he was here with us, said that was his main word was thoroughness. Hey, Renee, great to see you on Instagram. The thoroughness was the key. So here are the three elements that are required for goals. And that is, number one, goals must be specific. You know, I see a lot of folks with non-specific goals. Doesn't that sound crazy? But it's true. Non-specific goals. Here's what I mean by that. They want to lose weight. That's what I'm hearing a lot right now, right? We want to lose weight. That's a wish. That's a hope. That's a dream. It is not specific. If you lose an ounce, you could go, woohoo, made my goal. But very few of us, when we say we're going to lose weight, are thinking in terms of an ounce. So what we have to do is not say, I'm going to lose weight. What we have to say is something more like, I want to weigh 15 pounds less by July 1. See how specific that is? So when you are specific like that, it also means now you can work backwards from that specific goal to create a list of the plans that you'd like to have made. In other words, if you're going to lose 15 pounds by the 1st of July, that means you're probably going to have to lose about 5 pounds a week, which is a little under a pound a day. So what do you have to do in terms of diet? What do you have to do in terms of exercise? What do you have? And you can Google that, right? You can look that up. You can create very easily a game plan for what you need to do to get to that specific particular point. What does it take to lose 5 pounds a week? What does it take? You know, what do I have to do to make that happen? And that's where you begin. The more precise you can make this segment, this part, the more precise and specific you can make it, the greater the likelihood is that you'll achieve your goal. Years and years ago, my wife and I wanted to live in a particular part of Indianapolis called the Geist area. At that time, we were living on the northwest side of town. We wanted to live on the northeast side of town. Had a lot of friends over there, liked the area. So we were very specific about where we wanted to live. Then we made the goal more specific. We wanted a house about this big. We wanted a house with room for a office in the home, since that's where I office. And we got more precise and more specific about it. I'd always wanted to live on the water, but yet we were very specific about, how much we were going to spend, which also meant we probably wouldn't be on the main body of water. We'd be on one of the little inlets where the prices were more competitive and cheaper. So the more specific we made it, then the more we started to picture it, right? And when you visualize it, it's hard to visualize a generality. But when you visualize a home in a specific area, in a specific price range, with these specific attributes, then it becomes a lot more likely that you know exactly what you're looking for and you can proceed down the path. But when you're thinking, gosh, we just like a new house, it's overwhelming. So goals have to be specific to get you where you want to be. But here's the second thing, and it's the one that a lot of the motivational speakers don't tell us, and that is goals must be realistic. Does that sound strange to be talking about? But yes, goals have to be realistic. An unrealistic goal doesn't motivate you. It's a realistic goal. I mean, it's a realistic goal to say you want to lose 100 pounds. I mean, depending on what your weight is, right? But if you say I want to lose 100 pounds by June 1st, now you got trouble. And that would mean you'd have to lose 30 pounds a week plus. And that means you got to lose, right? 4 pounds a day. And how are you going to do that? And when you get on the scales at the end of day 2 and you're not down 8 pounds, it gets easy to be really, really discouraged. Unrealistic goals don't motivate us. If my wife and I would have said, we want a house in the Geist area of Indianapolis, and we want to live next to Reggie Miller and all the Colts and the Pacers, man, it'd been fun to think about, but that was unrealistic given our financial situation. Wouldn't have motivated us. It would have frustrated. It would have discouraged us. So make certain your goals are realistic. Now, I'm not saying your goals shouldn't stretch you. Of course they should. A goal should stretch you. But if you're 450 pounds and 65 years old, you are not going to be the jockey that wins next year's Kentucky Derby. It's just not. It's not. For me to say I want to be a big recording star at my age and I can't sing, other than that, right? It's just not realistic. But here's the problem: most of us don't set unrealistic goals. You know what we do? We set unrealistic time frames. We have become a society of such instant gratification. Look at this. We have more entertainment in our homes than ever before. And regardless of what you think about the pandemic, people are going nuts because they can't wait to get out of their house. We have more. How did the settlers in the 1800s do it? Right? How did they ever make this happen? With no radio or television or malls or workout gyms, it's amazing, right? We have become a society of such instant gratification. I put popcorn in the microwave and tell it to hurry up. Nobody wants to wait on anything anymore. But if something is important enough to create it as a goal, it is also important enough to give it a realistic time frame. Time for things to happen, time for things to make it work. So give your specific goal a realistic time frame and make it work from there. Okay, so what's the third of the 3? I love this one. Goals must be written. Goals must be. Learning this, I started asking people questions. Do you have goals? And I bet you 80% of the people I would ask that question would go, absolutely, got a goal. Of course I got a goal. People need goals. I've got a goal. So then I would ask the follow-up question, which is, where do you keep them? Where do you keep their goals? And what do you think the number one answer was? Yeah, you're probably right. Number one answer was right up here. Here's where I keep my goals. I know my goals. Or sometimes they point to their heart right here. But most times they point to their head. I keep my goal right there. And that's not a goal. That's an idea. That's a wish. That's a dream. That's a hope, but it's not a goal until you write it down. Because once you write it down, here's what it becomes. It becomes a contract with yourself for achievement. It's a contract with yourself. You've written it down. This is what I'm going to do. You've committed to it. So what you have to do is to write down that realistic and specific goal in a manner that you can keep on I love a 3x5 note card. I think that's the greatest goal tool ever invented. It's just a simple 3x5 note card. Maybe you put it as a screensaver on your phone. Maybe it depends on how much you want other people to know it. You can keep it all to yourself and keep it private, or you can put it somewhere where it's in front of you all the time. That's up to you. But what is not up to you is the requirement that the goal be written. Got to write it down. So when you take that specific goal and you make certain that it's realistic and you write it down, you put those three together, and what you have is a goal that you can make plans on how you achieve. So specific, realistic, and written, that is the topic of today's Daily Distinction. Oh, hey, Pam, thanks for remembering our house. Pam just posted here. It was a beautiful house. We love that house. That was Gulfstream Drive. We love that. Charles mentioned he puts on a little cologne and took a walk in the neighborhood. I guess it depends on how much cologne you had on, huh, Charles, or something. I don't know. That's good. Ken puts a little splash on every day. I appreciate that. And Ken, thank you for sharing. Thanks to everybody that has shared this. If you're getting in a little late, let me remind you of what we talked about earlier, just in case you missed it. And that is that Facebook has something going on now where you can't post your comments from a personal individual page. So if you're watching on my personal Facebook page and you type a comment, I can't see it on this program and I can't pop it up on the screen. That's just something Facebook is doing, and we don't know why. And maybe they're trying to fix that. I hope so, but I just can't do it. So what we're trying to do, and this is good to do anyway, because there we can continue the conversation. We're trying to move folks over to our Daily Distinction fan page. And so just search out for Daily Distinction. It is a page on Facebook. I'm watching it, and I'll answer your questions, or there too. I'd love suggestions of what you'd like me to cover in future episodes. But if I'm posting on my business page, on the Daily Distinction fan page, we are live during this program on Twitter and YouTube, joining Twitch, and probably going away from being on my personal page unless Facebook gets this fixed, because I want to see your comments. I want us to have a dialogue as this thing goes along. So that is going on. And tomorrow we're going to have a drawing. And for those who share Daily Distinction, you got a chance to win the book Iconic. What we're doing, in case you missed it from the earlier conversation, is when you share it, that becomes an entry. Okay. So if you share it on Facebook, that is an entry. If you share it on Twitter, that is an entry. If you share it on LinkedIn, that is an entry. We will take all of the entries in the next 23 or so hours, and we're going to put all those names. So if your name will be written down 3 times, if you do it on all 3 social media plays, we'll put all that in a hat. We're going to draw 3 names, and I'm going to sign an Iconic book and send it to you personalized if you're one of the winners. So you got a chance to win the book that American Express says is one of the 6 books every business person needs to be reading during the pandemic, and that Forbes said was one of the 10 best business books of the year. So you got a chance to get that. So that'll be what we do. One of the things that we do tomorrow when we have the drawing to see who wins. Thank you so much for watching. By the way, if you're watching on the replay, that works for you too. You don't have to be here live. Anybody that shares it, whether you're sharing the live version or the replay version, either way works great. And that will work however we do it there, right? Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being a part of this. I really, really appreciate it. And I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Once again, right here, same time, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, for Daily Distinction.